Hi, I'm Dr. Radford Davis, and I'm creating this video to share with you a little bit about the One Health Study Abroad program going to Kamuli, Uganda, leaving May 28th and returning June 12th, 2023. In this program, we focus on One Health issues such as water, sanitation, hygiene, and zoonotic awareness education. The idea is that we go to villages and farms and we do some evaluations, some observations, and then we make recommendations for the future on how to improve these. If after watching this video, if you have questions, please reach out to me. My email is rgdavis@iastate.edu, or you can reach out to Xiaosheng Wei, and you can find her office in the OASE office. She's our coordinator of international programs. She can answer questions as well as sign you up. Thanks. In this video, I want to talk about the One Health Study Abroad trip to Uganda, going to the Kamuli district, leaving May 28th and returning June 12th, 2023. It is led by me, Dr. Radford Davis. And I should say right off that this is the first time this trip has been offered. And I'll mention this a little bit later, but that requires that you be a little flexible, understanding, patient, and expect changes in your daily routine because of the newness of this program. All right, so where are we going? Well, we are headed here to Uganda, which borders South Sudan, the DRC, Rwanda, and Kenya, as well as Tanzania. Down here is Entebbe. This is where we fly into. Kampala is the capital city. And here we will spend some time visiting folks at the Makerere University. Now, in Makerere University is where they have the veterinary school, but they also have a school of public health. So we're going to meet with a few different individuals and get a better understanding of what are the animal health concerns in Uganda, what are the public health concerns, particularly around water, sanitation, and hygiene. What can they tell us before we hit the ground in Kamuli? So we will probably land in Entebbe in the evening, stay the night at a hotel, and then the next morning we will take a van ride up to Kampala, and we will stay there at least one night, maybe even two. That has yet to be determined. And then we're going to get in the van, and then we make a trip all the way up here, about 2 hours or so north to Kamuli. All right, so this is an experiential, otherwise known as a service learning program. And the idea is we're going to be contributing to the greater good of the community, of the people. We're going to learn and we're going to apply that knowledge. We're not just going to be tourists. And we're going to focus on water, sanitation, hygiene, because these are extremely important to health of children, infants, mothers, and families as a whole. But then we have this connection with animals. So WASH becomes important when we talk about sanitation around livestock. Where does livestock manure end up? What do they know about the zoonotic issues regarding livestock and potentially that connection with WASH, such as things from the manure, so fecal oral transmission, maybe leptospirosis. We probably will focus on just 3 or 4 different zoonotic diseases to gauge their awareness, maybe rabies or brucella or M. bovis. So we will be getting into vans, and we are going to utilize questionnaires, potentially. Right now, this is still all being worked out. And we are going to go visit different villages and farms. We're going to do some surveys, some verbal surveys with our translators. And so I'm going to accompany you and the group of students, and we're going to have some other faculty as well. I'll talk a little bit more about who might go with us here in a moment. So we're going to do some verbal questionnaires, find out what folks know about water, sanitation, hygiene. Do they use soap? Not very likely. Soap is not very common. Some people do use ash. Some people don't wash at all. Some people, based on literature surveys that have been done, some people don't believe washing hands is important. How does that impact then health? How does it impact the prosperity of the family? Is the family spending money on doctor visits and medications, and maybe even losing young children to diseases that could be prevented by better attention to water, sanitation, and hygiene. How far do they go to collect water? Who collects the water? How long does it take them? How far away is their latrine? Is it a stable latrine? Is it well constructed? Do people not want to use it because it smells or there's a potential for it to collapse? What kind of livestock, what kind of food animals, maybe chickens, are they raising? How are they feeding them? What are they doing with the manure? All right, so we're going to make use of translators, and we're going to travel around in groups, as I already mentioned. We're going to find out where these gaps are in WASH and zoonotic knowledge, and we're going to crunch these numbers as much as possible and come to some conclusions. So each day you're going to collect the information, you're going to enter this into the computer, and then at the end, you're going to be writing a report summarizing this information that future students, maybe next year, can then implement some of the recommendations. So before you go, there's going to be an 8-week pre-departure course. We're going to meet once a week. Right now it's scheduled for Wednesdays, 4 to 5 p.m. I believe that is the best time, but we can maybe change that if the group sees fit. During this 8 weeks, you're going to be looking up some of these topics. You're going to be keeping tabs on what's happening in Uganda in the news. I will feed you a lot of publications that I have and websites that will make your life a lot easier in assimilating and understanding this information. I will help you design the questionnaire, and we're going to work with Gideon Nadiope in the Kamuli campus. So Kamuli campus, as you'll see here in a moment, it's an ISU campus in Kamuli, and it is run by Iowa State University, and Dr. Gideon Nadiope is a veterinarian hired by Iowa State University. So he is a 100% ISU employee in Uganda at Kamuli. In our 8-week pre-departure course, you're also going to do a presentation about something regarding Uganda. So you will live, sleep, and eat at the ISU Uganda program campus in Kamuli. The Uganda program has been in business for about 20 years. It is run out of the College of Agriculture, the Center for Sustainable Rural Livelihoods, and for about 20 years they've been working in Kamuli. They tend to work on issues regarding nutrition education, particularly mothers, new mothers, but also in school children. They also help teach in the schools, particularly around agriculture, and they get involved in a lot of agriculture-based programs, education programs, and nutrition programs. So they may be involved in teaching in the classrooms and planting trees or doing lots of other things. So every summer, the ISU UP program runs undergraduates to the Kamuli campus. About 16 ISU undergraduate students and about another 6 Macquarie University students join them, and they are housed at the ISU UP campus. You will be housed there simultaneously. So you will get to interact with these undergraduate students as well as ISU faculty and staff and the ISU UP campus faculty and staff. We'll have daily group meetings, we'll eat together, and we're going to have in the morning sort of a brief plan for the day, what we're going to do before we go out and do it. Sometimes things may change, and what we planned yesterday may not work out today. Then we're going to go to the villages and the farms. We're going to maybe use our questionnaires, and then you're going to fill out those questionnaires as best as possible. We're going to make use of the translators. Along the way, you're going to keep a daily journal, and this is going to be things like what you did, what you saw, what surprised you, and then when we meet in the evening, I hope that we're going to talk about what you saw, what was fun, what wasn't fun, what needs to be improved. Along the way, we're going to try and meet some folks and make some visits as well. So meet with the district veterinarian, try to visit a different health clinics. So there are 5 tiers of health clinics in Uganda, the 5th being the highest, being a hospital. And then we'll try and visit some of the lower clinics as well. We may or may not visit with the Ministry of Agriculture folks, or the Ministry of Health, or USAID representative. We are hopefully going to meet with the faculty at McCarry University, tour the veterinary school, meet some veterinary students as well. So expectations of you, there are going to be some rules that the ISU UP has that you'll have to abide to, and I can share that with you on the first day of the pre-departure course. But as you're going to be working as a team, and you're going to be working on these projects and trying to refine them. They're going to be rough to begin with, but we're all going to work and try and make it better. So I need you to be flexible, accommodating, go with the flow, and adventurous. And if you have any concerns along the way, any issues, problems, just reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. So as I mentioned, at the end of the day, we're going to eat together as a big group, and it's a really good vibe. The ISU UP undergraduate program, it's a really good vibe, and it's fun to see these young folks and how excited they get about what they're doing. And really, what I want you to help do is to shape this program for the greater good of the people of Kamuli so that we can do some long-term good. So as I mentioned, this is the first time that this has been offered. In fact, within the College of Vet Med, this is the first faculty-led program in 4 or 5 years. We're learning together. I've only spent about 3 days or so in Kamuli. I don't know Kamuli very well, so we're going to be relying on a lot of other people. But I know this is an area that we can be successful in because ISU has a footprint there. They've been there for a long time. All right, so things that I'd like you to keep in mind about being flexible, accommodating, easygoing, curious, patient, supportive, giving, adaptable, polite, non-judgmental, and so forth. You will need anti-malaria medication, and you will need, I believe you will need a COVID vaccine, proof of that as well. And more on that later. We will get into that on the first day of departure. So when you get back, there'll be a final report to write up. Again, that's going to be a group effort around WASH and zoonotic education. And then we're going to take this final report and we're going to give it back to the people in Kamuli, and I'm going to interact with them and say, okay, here are our findings, here is what we can do. Right now it's about $3,300 a student, I believe. That may change just a little bit, but not a lot, depending on whether we stay an extra night in Kampala or not. So right now, $3,300. And easily half of that is the flight to Uganda. So it's, as far as study abroad programs go, it's fairly inexpensive. So just some photos. This is the ISU UP campus in Kamuli. I'm standing at the entrance of the inside the campus, looking out toward the main road, the gate, as you would come in. Now, if I stand out at that gate, this is what I see toward the campus. It's a very nice campus. This has been supported by some very generous donors. And what we see here, this main building, these are administrative offices. This is the dining hall. And they have some very good food, some very good chefs. This is the type of food that you would expect at a hotel. And I stayed in a hotel in Kampala and as well as Entebbe, and this food rivals that or is better. Just some images of the dining hall. So this is evening. This is where folks are sitting around chatting and getting to know each other. On the left, this is perch that was captured from the Nile, and then on the right, breakfast. This is a room to relax, socialize. This was the funding for this was provided by President Winterstein. Outdoor covered area, that's Dr. Brum. And this is the sidewalk, the walkway toward the residence. On the left, through the trees, there are the student residence rooms, and on the right, the faculty. Looking back, there's some jackfruit that I had to take a photo of. And just some images of the campus. You see there's a volleyball net, lots of green space, and the student housing. You will be housed 4 students per room, and there will be 1 bathroom and then a separate room for the toilet and sink. They also have a demonstration farm, a livestock demonstration farm. So they bring folks from the communities here to learn more about how to be successfll in raising animals and improving things like nutrition and reproduction. So you can see on the upper right the livestock chute and the holding pen, below chickens. They work with and experiment with different grasses. You see 3 Holsteins, a goat, and some pigs. This is not something we will be involved in, but I wanted to make you aware that what the undergraduate program does is they get involved. One of the things they get involved with is maternal nutrition, and they have discovered over time that the best way to keep a young baby alive is to keep the mom in good health. Rather than focus the nutrition on the child and ignore the mother, if they can keep the mom in really good health and give her food, then she produces good breast milk, and that keeps the child alive. And they run these groups for mothers for the first 6 months of the child's life. And after 6 months, then the women are encouraged to get together and form a business. So one of the businesses I saw was a group of women who got together and they started really a greenhouse, a seedling greenhouse. So people could come and buy sprouts of different plants, and that's how they were making money. So upper left, one of the schools. Upper right, you see 2 people. One in the background is an Iowa State student who just finished talking to a group of young kids, and then the teacher took over after she was done. And then the bottom photo here, Iowa State students along with a McCary University student working out in the field. One of the things that they get involved in, again, we're not going to be involved in this, is also supplemental nutrition within the school systems, porridges or lunches. But on the right, one of the things we do want to get involved in is water, sanitation, hygiene, not just in the villages, but if we can, we want to see if we can do an assessment in some of the schools. So you see, this is where they rinse their bowl, but they also need to wash their hands. Latrines, upper right. What are the latrines made of? Are they safe? Are they well maintained? For girls, this becomes a particular problem because as they reach the age of menstruation, if they don't have a proper latrine and the privacy, then they may not come to school during that time in which they're having their periods. So that could then mean that they're out of school, they're missing school too much, and that sets them behind. You see on the right here, the jerry can of water and then the sign, wash your hands before eating, no soap. I'm told that soap just disappears, and it's understandable. They probably take it home. So one of the things is, where can we get more soap? They do work with a group of women who make soap, and I think we need to learn more about that. How can we improve that industry? How can we bolster that, make it even better? How far is it to get water? You see in the lower photos, young kids walking to get water. And this can be a problem if they're spending time in the morning and time in the evening. Maybe they're not spending as much time. Maybe they're missing school because of it. Maybe they don't collect as much water because the water is so far away. It's too much work. It's too burdensome. But it's usually a lot of the time the children that are collecting the water. We will meet with farmers and find out how they're doing, what kind of animals they're raising, how they're raising the animals. What are they feeding them? What's their knowledge about different livestock diseases? So this pig, we could talk about erysipelas. We could talk about Brucella suis potentially. And we'll talk about where the manure goes, where their water is, how close are these animals to where the people live. We'll talk to various farmers, so pig farmers, cattle farmers, goat farmers, chicken farmers. And we'll visit also some of the schools, particularly this one, in which raising chickens is a school project. What do the school kids know about zoonotic diseases? The ISU Uganda program, they also have trained 2 community animal health workers, and we will get to know them and learn more about what they teach, who they teach, and what their process is. As I mentioned, I hope that we can get to some clinics and a hospital. The major hospital is Kamuli General Hospital. This is level 5, the highest level of hospitals, and this is a level 3 hospital. And everywhere I went, when I asked, what was your biggest health problem? They said malaria. Now, it may be that people with fever could also be suffering from other diseases, maybe something like leptospirosis. Okay, so that is it. I hope this has been helpful. And again, if you have questions, email me and sign up before March 1st. Thanks for listening.